Hello, Mr. Bryden.
Not me.
Yeah. So have I pronounced the name correct?
Yeah, Bryden.
Bryden, yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, my name is Islam. How are you, Mr. Bryden?
I'm very well, thank you. Nice to meet you, Islam. I'm from England.
Yeah, I can see that. But I couldn't read the name of your town correct perfectly.
Carlisle.
Carlisle?
Yeah. It's near Newcastle.
Carlisle. Okay, let's start with your name, the castle. Carlisle. Why the S is not pronounced like island, Carlisle? Why it is already
Carlisle. Yeah, it's similar to the pronunciation as in Ireland. The S is silent. This S is silent.
Does it have any?
It makes no sense.
Yeah.
But it's just English pronunciation, I suppose.
Yeah. So I have heard you about in your video profile that you are fluent in Spanish.
That's correct. Yeah.
Wow. How did you get that accuracy in Spanish? How long have you studied first Spanish?
2 years. To get fluency.
What?
2.5 years.
2.5 years?
Yeah.
Starting from the scratch?
Starting from zero, nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah,
And you
absolutely nothing.
And you can speak now Spanish fluency?
Sí, hablo español perfectamente, puedo hablar con fluidez total.
I guess this is good. So,
Yeah.
how can we achieve that goal?
Okay.
For English?
This is not for everybody, but like the methods you have to use are quite extreme. You have to essentially convert your entire life so that your principal goal in life is learning the target language. Everything you do in your life will in some way relate to learning that language. Like for me, I moved to Spain. I went to live with people from Colombia.
Wow.
I spent almost no time with people that spoke English.
You just hit the nail.
Yeah, so it was just Spanish all the time.
So you just make Spanish all around you.
Like in English, we have a word that it's you immerse yourself. You know, you just envelop yourself. Yeah, you immerse. Immersión en español. Immersion. Yeah, because you're retraining your brain to process information differently, because language is one of the means that we process information, you know? So it's like, when you think about it, it actually takes quite a long time to learn a language.
Yeah, true.
Think about a baby. A baby might be like 6-7 years old before they can have a meaningful conversation, you know?
Yeah.
So it can take several years.
Maybe it might take a year or a year and a half to just pronounce 200 words. I guess I have read an article about this before.
Exactly. It's interesting because you'll probably see on the internet there's a lot of advertising about, learn English in 3 weeks, learn English in 2 months, you know?
Nonsense.
It's not realistic, is it?
Yeah, true.
Yeah, I know. Maybe there's like 0.1% of people who are genius level and they can do it, right? But for normal people, it's not realistic.
Yeah. I always tell my students or my learners or anyone asking me how can I speak English fluently in a short time, and I'm telling them, I guess there is no shortcut for this. You have to do to get this. You have to watch movies, listen to songs, start reading, writing, stuff like this. And I'm telling them, I just get this in my mind. The ultimate way to speak English fluently without hesitating, without cutting ideas in your mind, just the language in your mind. I speak Arabic, the mother tongue. So my mind goes and thinks in Arabic. So it's all about Arabic inside this, and
That's what you need to change.
yeah, and I need to summon English words immediately. So there is a fight in your head. I want to use the Arabic one, but I want to say the English one. Now there is a fight in your mind, and if you want to use English, you have to force your mind to, let's say, make use. As we say, yeah, I have heard before the term of passive vocabulary and active vocabulary. You know?
Right. And
So-
what does that mean? What do those terms mean?
Okay, passive vocabulary, these are words that I know and I don't use. I just know the meaning of them, but I don't use in my spoken English.
Yeah,
Active,
but you might read it in a book or something like that, right?
maybe I have heard them, I read about a cross by, you know, and
Sure.
I know the meaning of them, but I'm not get used to use them.
Understand, right?
Active vocabulary are always on your mind and on your spoken language, and that's what I'm using. That's why I'm using Cambly, to make all the passive vocabulary in my mind active at the same time, and also to try to, let's say, improve my fluency and accuracy in pronunciation.
It's also worth remembering, though, that you'll have those same words in your native language, Arabic. You'll have words in Arabic that you've learnt the meaning of, but you don't use in day-to-day conversation, right?
When you talk about Arabic, it's much easier for me because
Okay.
it's mother language, you know.
Well, okay, for me, for English, right? There are words in English that I know the meaning of and I can define them, but I don't use them. You know, I might use the word like once a year, you know, because it's a very rare word. So
Yeah.
it's normal to expect that when you're learning a foreign language too, right?
Yeah, once a year. We don't even use.
For example, some scientific words, which are very specialized and quite rare, you know?
So I'm a little interested about you are. I guess you are too young, and other tutors in Cambly looks like older. They are. They are
I'm 20,
you know.
I'm 20 years old.
Really?
Yes, I get the feeling I'm one of the younger tutors, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems to
Actually,
be.
I saw your profile 2 weeks ago, and I heard your. I put you in my favorite tours.
Ah.
And I didn't talk to you, just to take your line once I wanted to speak.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, Cambly seems to be full of old people, doesn't it? They like to hire old people for some reason.
No, but
I don't know why. I think generally for tutoring and teaching, perhaps older people are sometimes more patient.
maybe.
Possibly. That's just me theorizing. I don't know.
Uh, I'd like to talk to young people like you.
Okay.
Because you have different life experience than others.
Sure.
Yeah, so it's easy to talk to someone, let's say, closer in the age and mind too. Maybe you are living in two different places, two different countries, two different continents, but still we are young.
Right. And younger people tend to be open to new ideas, different ways of thinking, that kind of thing also.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for here.
Nice.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Sorry, you wanted to say something? Go ahead.
No,
I've forgotten now. Yeah. So just the point you mentioned earlier about you mentioned that when you're speaking in English, you're translating in your head, right? So you've got all this information in Arabic going on in your head, and then you're having to translate it into English, and then vocalize it, right?
That's the problem, that all Arabic learners learn English related to Arabic word. So when they try to summon the word in English, they first had to summon it in Arabic to to find the link between both.
Okay, it's the same in learning any language. It's the same principle. I would say it is virtually impossible to go straight to thinking in the target language when you're just starting. Like I see you're at a relatively advanced level, but say you're just starting, it's impossible to be thinking in a meaningful way, in English. Go ahead.
Yeah, you have said I'm an advanced level.
Yeah, sure.
Really?
Well, I suppose it depends what your point of reference is.
So,
Well, for example, you can have a meaningful conversation in English, true?
yeah.
In my opinion, that makes you at an advanced level of English. Yeah. Yeah.
By the way,
I don't care about your exams. I don't care about your titles. That's totally meaningless to me. I don't care.
yeah.
I care. Can you have a meaningful conversation where you can exchange information effectively? If you can do that, you're an advanced speaker.
Woo! I'm an advanced speaker. Yeah. By the way, I teach English.
I guess. I guess.
And I'm trying to, and I have a YouTube channel too. And then next step on my channel on YouTube, I'm trying to present new ideas in teaching English for Arabic learners.
Right.
That's why I'm trying here to, let's say, finding new ideas, new experience, collecting cultures from different people, stories.
Yeah. Sure. So I think for many decades, languages in general have been taught in that a teacher stands in front of a board for an hour, and they write grammar sequences on the board, and the student copies them into a book, right? Which is just so ineffective, it's almost pointless.
Which is really boring.
Yeah, and it's so boring. I had some Spanish classes at school, you know?
Yeah.
And it was essentially that. It was just writing grammar off a board into a book. And I learned absolutely nothing. I forgot it all the moment I walked out of that class.
Yes.
And even more, because it was so boring, I didn't care. You know, I had no interest.
So
when learning a language, half the battle is generating enthusiasm for that language. You got to make the student care. Why is it important to them?
So let me ask you from this point: how can you make your students care about the language?
How can you make? Well, there's two ways. You can make it clear the benefits to them. So I mean, I don't know. It would depend, I suppose, on the particular circumstances of the student. But there are many benefits to learning language.
Just believe this. We are not going to tell you we don't need English. We don't want English tests. Please.
No, but it's interesting.
The British people, American people are not learning Arabic. Why we learn English?
No, but it's interesting that problem exists in my country because I'm British, okay, and the native language of my country is English. Yes. And there's a common view amongst young people is that, well, the whole world learns our language, so we don't need to learn any other languages. So you do need to highlight to them what the benefits are. You know, it's important.
I didn't think of this before.
It's true. That's the way I thought when I was younger.
So, do you use or do you study English grammar at your school? At school?
Yes, and it was totally pointless because I learned absolutely nothing. I learned nothing at all. I forgot it all the moment I walked out of that class. I had to learn it. I had to learn it later, you know, because it was important.
Yes.
But I think at the beginning, when you're really starting to teach a student, you shouldn't teach them any grammar at all, because they can't use it in a meaningful way. If you don't have any vocabulary, there's no point learning grammar, because you can't use it, because you don't have the raw materials to construct those sentences, you know?
It's true.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to ask you some, because this is the first time to use my laptop to use Cambly.
Okay, so right. No problem.
Is the camera okay and the voice okay?
Yeah. I can see you fine. I can hear you fine. The picture's a little grainy, but that might just be the internet speed. I'm not sure.
I guess it's the camera, because
maybe
9.0 mega. I guess it's low resolution.
Maybe your laptop's a little old, maybe, or is it the camera?
No, it's 5 years, but it was the first generation of i7 iCore 6 gig RAMs. So I'd like to contain high quality.
Okay. I think it's good enough to communicate.
Yeah, great.
Yeah,
It's
but
nice.
yeah. When a student's just starting, I think the best for them just to start is maybe use applications, that kind of thing, just to start building that vocabulary up.
Okay, let me ask you about something. Because you are, let's say, a fresh graduate.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can say fresh graduate, right?
Well, kind of, but I've never been to university, so I guess not.
Wow. Why?
It's just not necessary for my goals in my life.
Interesting.
Yeah.
This is a good story. I'd love to hear.
Yeah.
But
Well, in Britain.
before
Okay.
sharing any, yeah, I'm sorry about this.
No
Before
problem.
sharing any information about you, I upload my episodes on YouTube. I have a playlist on my YouTube channel
Okay.
for Cambly tutors. All the
Fine.
episodes I make, I upload them on YouTube, and I use the English captions and I watch them again and catch all your sentences and write them down on my notebook, private notebook, and I repeat them. So all your sentences, I repeat them again. So
Okay.
if you want to share anything on public, don't say it.
Okay. No, you can share me on YouTube. Do whatever you want. I don't care. That's fine.
Thank you. See,
Um,
it's nice.
yeah.
Fresh ideas.
I forgot what I was going to say now.
You're still about university.
Yes,
Why?
university. There's a few reasons why I didn't go to university. I think the world's changing, and I think the world of education is changing. There's so many ways of accumulating information and learning. I think the internet is one of the most beautiful inventions because it essentially gives you access to all of mankind's knowledge from anywhere in the world, from your own bedroom. I think that is in part eroding the role that universities once played as a source of knowledge,
Yeah, but I guess university degree could help you to get a better job.
But that's the fallacy of university. What is university all about? Is it university about learning? Is it about improving yourself? Or is it about getting a piece of paper?
Getting a piece of paper.
Well, that's totally meaningless, isn't it? And futile in life.
Okay, let me tell you something about a part of my life. Okay?
Okay.
I will share this with you. I'm from Egypt and I work now in Kuwait. Without a piece of paper, I couldn't get a chance to work in Kuwait.
Okay.
To live in a better lifestyle, get higher salary than what I could gain or get in Egypt.
Sure.
So I guess this piece of paper could help.
Okay, so in your circumstances, it's necessary, to
Yeah.
to be where you want to be. You need that piece of paper, so you do what you need to do. In Britain, there's some jobs like that, but there's also a lot of work. There's very low unemployment in my country. It's quite easy to find work, and I can provide myself with enough income and fill my life doing things that I enjoy without going to university. So I'm going to follow that path.
Okay, but about me, I have talking to, let's say, other British tours from Britain, and I was shocked about their decision about leaving Britain to move to another country to live there because, as they have said or mentioned, that Britain is some kind of expensive and crowded. And I told them, wow, as Arabs, we are seeking to go to your country to live there, to enjoy what we hear about, what we are astonished about, and you are already there and you went out. So
true. Remember also that not all of Britain is the same.
Yeah.
Probably most of your students probably most of the tutors that you've spoken to are from the south of England, which is very crowded, very densely populated. You know, that's the area of London, some of the other big cities. You know.
You are so smart. Yes.
Exactly. The south of England is virtually one big city. It's so densely populated. Britain, imagine a small island with double the population of Saudi Arabia.
Wow.
It's a very crowded place.
Yes.
There is not enough land to produce food to feed all the people. We need to import a significant percentage of our food because there's just not enough land, you know?
Yeah. How many are the population of Britain?
63 million.
Wow.
And that's legal residents. There are also a significant, you know, population of illegal individuals also. So that total will probably be a few million higher.
You can multiply this number by 10 and get the number of population.
Yeah, but
we are too many. Yo!
But I come from the north of England, near the border with Scotland, and there there's significantly less people, and the cost of living is also substantially cheaper.
Great. You know, while I was still a student, I couldn't get the difference between Ireland, Iceland, Britain, and learning about strange names about old nations living in Britain.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
It was
sure.
so strange.
So, you know, Iceland is like
I guess Anglo-Saxons, or
my accent.
No. I guess one of the old nations in this era or before you now, it was Anglo-Saxon people or stuff like this.
Well, kind of. The Anglo-Saxons were one of the tribes.
Yeah.
So in the past, the Roman Empire controlled Britain, right?
Really?
Yes. The Roman Empire expanded as far as Britain, and it controlled almost all of it, with an exception of a small part of Scotland.
And then Britain controlled half of the world.
Well, yes, 2,000 years later.
Yeah.
A lot changes in 2,000 years. So the Roman Empire collapsed.
Yeah.
And then the Romans, they left Britain, and so the German tribes filled the space. And those tribes were the Angles, the Saxons, the Jutes, and some others which I've forgotten. So that's where you get that word Anglo-Saxon. It's referring to those German tribes.
German tribes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's interesting.
Who came after the decline of the
Roman Empire.
Roman Empire, yes. Yeah,
That's correct.
Yeah, the word came to my mind was Italian Empire, and I thought for a moment, no, it wasn't Italian. So you have mentioned it.
Yeah, the Roman Empire. So yes, so when you hear that word Anglo-Saxon, it's referring to those German tribes that came in. And even today, in 2019, you'll notice that a lot of words in English are of German origin.
Origin?
You know that word, origin?
Yeah, I know the word, but
I
hear it as origin.
Yeah, origin.
Yeah, we have here a little problem with the vowels.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, in Arabic we stress most of our words in the last syllable of the word.
Right.
But in English, it's like
it depends on the word, doesn't it?
Yeah. So we are not used to talk or speak this pattern, and it was a shocking information. While studying at the university, I guess someone summoned this question that British people and American people are eating words while they are speaking. A piece of cake.
Yeah, I do the same. Like I'm speaking to a non-native now. Okay, so I'm trying to be as slow and as clear as possible.
Yeah, I can see that.
But if I was speaking to my mother, for example, it wouldn't be the same. I would be eating my words. I would be speaking in slang all the time. My grammar would be terrible because it's more easy to talk like that, and we understand each other because we're both native speakers. You know.
Yeah.
So your English changes depends who you're talking to.
Yes, I can see that. And you are so the vowels like of, a, and, the. I guess all these change to the schwa sound, which is the weakest sound in English, right?
Yes, they could do.
Yeah.
Um,
So what you have mentioned slang language.
okay. My family's from Newcastle originally.
Okay.
So this is correct English. Hello, how are you?
Yeah, this is standard.
Okay. Standard. You understand it, okay?
Yeah.
This is Newcastle English, Newcastle slang. ويا يدين like?
Again?
ويا يدين like?
No way to get it. You are writing it, right?
I'm writing it now, yeah.
Yeah, you are typing. What?
And that means hello, how are you?
So can you say it one more again so I will repeat it many times?
ويا يدين like?
Are you sure about this? Hello, how are you?
That's how my grandfather used to speak. He's from Newcastle. Yeah.
This is a different this is a different level. Not even advanced. This is wow, super advanced.
I would say probably slang, and being able to use it effectively is the most highest level of English that there is.
So I will start from slang.
It is so difficult to use slang. To be honest, I think, for example, a lot of students, they're learning English for international business, right, or for their careers. You know,
Yeah.
it's probably not necessary to learn slang. But if you're interested in English and you want to become a very high-level English speaker, you know, it's interesting, isn't it?
Actually, I have. Let's see. What you have sparked my spirit to start from this point and start a new series in my YouTube channel about slang language.
Do it.
I can't use you, by the way.
Okay, nice. Yeah, slang. In England, every town has its own slang.
Yeah.
So in England, you would literally have hundreds of versions of slang that's different from town to town.
Which is really good and fruitful at the same time because this means too many episodes.
Yeah. English is a virtually infinitely complex thing. English, it's so complicated.
Actually, it's not that complicated like us. Arabic is more complicated.
What I'm saying is, at like a standard level, it's not complicated. If you want to speak effectively, you know, the grammar is quite easy, and you know, I think English, you know, it's quite straightforward. But I think if you want to go to the English that real people use, like real people, now that is very, very complex.
Yeah, that's what I'm seeking.
For example, you have to understand when it's acceptable to not use grammar correctly, and when when you have to use it correctly.
Really?
It's in a weird kind of way. There's almost rules to not obeying the rules, if that makes sense.
Okay. You remind me with a sentence I have heard before. Rules are both to be broken.
Yes, it's true. Rules to be broken.
But this is the first time to hear from an English speaker that you need to know, or you need to know when you have to use grammar correctly or not.
Exactly. For example, there's sometimes that grammar is acceptable to be broken, but there's other times that if you broke the grammar, what you said, it would lose all meaning and it couldn't be understood.
Okay, so can you give me?
I'm struggling to think of an example on the spot. For example, I mean, if there's some function words that you'd have to say, or it wouldn't make sense.
Yeah.
Maybe next time we could look at a text or something that or an audio conversation, and it would be more obvious. But
I'll make sure, of course, I'll make sure to talk to you again or call you again.
mhm.
Yeah,
Oh
because
yeah,
maybe next sessions, or I will send you a message before we sit together or talk
yeah,
together.
certainly. I mean, I have a schedule, so if you're interested in that, I can send that to you.
Yeah, I know the schedule and I can make reservation to you.
Okay, yeah, go for it. Make a
You can
reservation if
if
you
you
like.
want.
I work like every day, so I'm getting married in October, so I need the money.
Whoa, congratulations.
So
So you
I'm a
are
busy
only
guy.
about, let's say you are 5 months away or 4.
Excuse me. Well, yeah, 4 or 5, yeah, 4 months. No,
Yeah, great,
no, 5 months. Um,
great.
yes. So it's a time of change in my life. Also a very expensive time of my life. So
Actually, marriage is so expensive.
I know.
we have tough we have tough traditions about getting married. You have to pay a lot of money.
Yeah. I'm trying to make it a little bit cheaper where I can, but even so, it's not just the actual marriage itself. It's like the life after the marriage, you know? Because right now I'm living with my parents. That's not going to work, is it? When after I'm married, so I have to get my own place, start paying all the bills, all those kind of things, and then
So do you have your own place now, or did you arrange?
what kind of I have my own building, but it's on my parents' property, so I kind of still live with them, but I'm not in the same house.
But you are separate, yeah.
Yeah,
Great.
but
This
but
is
but
good
but,
news.
that, but they still own where I live.
It's okay. At the start, it's okay. We all
It's
need
like
our parents' help.
it's like a step to independence.
By the way, it's better to get married at a young age than getting married older. At my, let's say, in Egypt,
Hmm.
I have neighbors. Let's say they are close to 50, or let's
Hmm.
say they are close to 55, and their children is still 5 and 4 years old. And I'm telling myself how he is going to raise his own kids when he's going to be happy about his happiness in the future.
Hmm.
Isn't he thinking about his grandson, granddaughter? How
Hmm.
come he left himself to this age, not married or not getting baby younger?
Yeah,
How are you going to raise your own kid and
true.
give him learn from your own life to catch your own lifestyle and knows
Yeah.
you in your
Well,
life?
in England, it's very common for mothers to not be having children until their 40s because of
Wow.
because well, it's a very materialistic country,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of focus on your career and developing yourself. So they spend their earlier years on those things, and then when they hit their 40s, they're, okay, I'll have a family now. So it's
Actually, this kind of thoughts and thinkings are coming to our Arabic culture too now, and I can see in young kids that they are getting married and they don't want to give birth new births too soon. This
mhm.
is really a big problem. I can see
Yeah.
that.
Well, yeah, it causes demographic problems further down the lines because you don't have enough young people to support the system. You have problems in the workforce and all these different things.
Actually, we have in our let's say in our Islamic religion that each baby, each kid, each child comes to life. It comes with its, let's say, with its blessing from Allah, from our God. So
Sure.
you don't have to worry about feeding him. Everything comes with time, you know.
Yeah.
But people are overthinking about this. I don't know why.
Perhaps. I must admit, I'm in no rush to have my own children. I'm trying to protect whatever's left of my wallet.
Keep it warm. Okay, I'll call you again, inshallah.
Okay, no problem.